after Morgoth. As Morgoth fell beneath the weight of the darkness, a growing number of those who survived believed that the darkness had come to an end. The catastrophic War of Wrath had shattered the once bustling world of Beleriand. The valiant armies of the Elves and the Norns had ultimately triumphed, and the destructive first Dark Lord of Mordor was hurled beyond the world. Although evil is an insatiable force, it doesn't always meet its doom. It slumbered, and among the ashes of that burnt-out era, one despicable servant remained: Sauron. Not the sinister, raging tyrant hailing from the flames and the iron, but rather something far more sinister. A scheming mind, a cunning strategist, a being who comprehended that brute force alone had proven insufficient. If Morgoth was to rule through fear and intimidation, Sauron would emerge as the embodiment of trust. And so, in preference to raising armies and invading lands, he chose to disappear, to rebuild, to metamorphose into something else. Because the Second Age was not to be conquered through battles. It was to be conquered through deceit and deception. The enchanted stranger. 1,000 years passed. The elves of Middle-earth have flourished. In Nirregen, their culinary skills had reached notoriety unrivaled in Valinor. And then he arrived, billed as a dark principal, crowned in iron. Yet, behold him, not as a menacing figure. Rather, he was fair, illuminated, wise. He referred to himself as Annatar, the Lord of Gifts. He spoke of wisdom, of preservation, of power not intended for conquest, but for defense, to nourish elves who dreaded the gradual decline of their lineage. His words left a palpable sense of hope. He did not exert authority over them. Instead, he imparted knowledge, provided guidance, did not use threats to compel them. Instead, he incited. Gradually, he found a place of welcome in their hearts. Celebrimbor's dream. Amongst the elves there lived Celebrimbor, grandson of Fëanor, heir to extraordinary brilliance, bearer of a potent legacy. Celebrimbor desired to match the glory of the legendary Silmarils, to create something that would last for eternity, something that would protect beauty from the ravages of time. Annatar observed this insatiable craving, and he fed it on. He imparted them with unique techniques, secrets of skill and artistry, subtle powers of binding strength and power into precious metals and stones. Under his enlightened guidance, the rings of power began to materialize. Each one was meticulously crafted to resist corruption, but instead of corrupting, they were designed to preserve, to heal wounds, to strengthen realms against the subtle ebbing of their essence. The elves believed they were co-creating their own destiny. They did not notice the invisible chains being forged deep within the golden substance. The Ents and the elves. The first rings were crafted. The Ents received 7. The elves were given 9. Each ring bestowed unique powers. The Ents' rings boosted their strength. The elves' rings increased their wealth. Their rings enhanced their influence and glamour. However, the wearers of these rings did not comprehend the truth, that their powers were not truly their own, for every ring possessed the hidden aspect. It held a connection to something untold, and deep within the desolate lands of Eregion, Sauron was meticulously working towards the ultimate goal, the key to unlocking the power of all the rings of power, the 3 Elven rings. Yet, not all of them were crafted under his keen eye. Celebrimbor, possibly sensing something extraordinary, created 3 mystical rings in the shadows: Vilya, Nenya, Narya. These unique rings were left untouched by Sauron's direct influence. They were even more pure, designed solely for healing and preserving their magical essence. But even they were deeply intertwined with the same ancient knowledge, the same exceptional craftsmanship, the very same foundational principles. And Sauron, the enigmatic being, knew all about it. He was always on guard, constantly observing, because his ultimate intention was never to craft a single ring. It was all about establishing a system, creating a network, forming a web of profound power and influence. And the elves, ever innocent and pure, were the primary targets, the ultimate sacrifice. Mount Doom, so far to the east. In that land which would eventually become Mordor, Sauron began his descent into the flames of Orodruin, Mount Doom. Found within the very heart of the mountain itself, Sauron unleashed his entire power into the shimmering molten gold. No fragments, no blessings. Instead, it was his very essence that was at stake. His unwavering will, his overwhelming malice, his insatiable dominance. The One Ring was far from being merely enchanted. Its very existence was alive and thriving with him. And when he finally placed it upon his own finger, the entire world seemed to shift. The moment of realization. In Eregion, the elves felt it instantly. A presence, a pressure, a mind touching theirs. And in that terrible moment, they understood. They had been deceived. Annatar was Sauron. The rings were not gifts. They were instruments. Control, domination, enslavement. They removed their rings at once, but it was too late. Because the Master Ring existed, and its call could not be undone. There was only one thing left for the elves to do. They had to destroy the Ring of Power, even though it was powerful and immensely difficult to destroy. The elves did not hesitate. Instead of taking the risk of failing, they made the most of their opportunity. And so, with the powerful attack, they successfully destroyed the ring. Their plan had succeeded. They had achieved what they set out to accomplish. The end. Amidst a dark and stormy sky peeling as a canvas, war burst forth with a deafening roar that echoed through the vast expanse of Eregion. Sauron, with a disdainful and sinister gesture, abandoned the mask that concealed his true self. Behind an enigmatic form that blended with the twilight, the legions of Mordor, like a raging black tide, marched mercilessly, consuming the last remnants of Eregion like a fire, engulfing it all. Celebrimbor, the fearless and bold elven craftsman, fought fiercely with the energy of 1,000 suns. But like the fading stars, his strength waned too. The sacred knowledge of the rings, a priceless and invaluable heritage, was hurled away from him. And the 7 and the 9, quintessential symbols of power, were taken, redistributed, and harnessed for an unprecedented stroke of conquest. The once harmonious and unified elves, once the pride of Middle-earth, now lay scattered like fallen leaves in the ceaseless wind. Their magical golden age of splendor was shattered, casting Middle-earth into an entirely new era of shadows, in which hope fell like a distant whisper, buried beneath the ever-growing and treacherous mist of darkness that enveloped everything in its shadowy grasp. As the pages turn, we grasp the transformative power of change that weaves a path forward. Even when the future seems uncertain, the destruction of the Fellowship, the One Ring discovered its final prey. Men, enthusiastic, human, lusting for fame. At first they became mighty kings, wise sorcerers, ruler of the realm, but immortal life turned them into creatures of darkness. Their skin turned pale, their energy waned, until there was nothing left but the broken spirits of their comrades, the Nazgûl, forever bound to Sauron's will. A testament to the mightiest weapon was the patience of Sauron. One ring to rule them all, the enchanted thread. The One Ring was not simply an ordinary object. It was a profound concept embodying a whole host of philosophies. Power harnessed through connectivity, domination achieved through the subjugation of others. Sauron did not set out to destroy Middle-earth. Instead, he sought to possess it entirely, to bind every individual's will to his own personal desires. And even though Sauron would eventually fall tragically down, despite the One Ring being removed from its wielder's hand, its very creation played a monumental role in changing the course of history forever. Simply put, from that fateful moment onwards, every single war, every single betrayal, every single alliance were all woven around a single intricate concept, crafted in secret, made from the very flames of Mordor, concealed by deception. The One Ring,